So let's move on to convincing the board. So you now have identified the claim. It's perfectly legit. You can stand by it. So how do you then go about selling that to the board?
Well, and that takes a little bit of credibility. I'll give you an example. I won't use names on this because I probably still have some NDAs that probably still cover it. But there was a medical software company that we worked with, and they basically built some onboarding software for doctors, for physicians, and it would capture all the stuff that a doctor needs to capture when they bring in a new physician, the patient's name, and in medical speak, they talk about morbidities, modalities, and outcomes. So morbidities is what's wrong with the patient. Modalities is what does the doctor do to actually fix the patient. And then outcomes is there some measurable difference that was made? And can you measure it? Um, and that was all fine and good. And they thought, interestingly, we were hired originally to do their marketing. Then we were put on pause because they got an unsolicited acquisition offer. The acquisition offer fell through in due diligence. So then they brought us back on, but this time with a more focused marketing goal of sort of remarketing the company at a higher valuation and broader appeal. Because if you think about the depth of the market for a patient onboarding software is probably pretty slim. Back to your question about how do you find that strategic nugget, we spent some time with the company and we started looking at their operations and started understanding how it works. And we discovered that all of the data from that onboarding software was being databased. And they had, at this point, 22 million records, and they were all first party records, which means they owned it, they could use it, they could do what they wanted with it. And furthermore, we discovered that some larger insurance companies were actually approaching the company to query the database to say, can you tell us, we have authorization requests to pay for the physical therapy treatment for, let's say, a 24-year-old athlete with a torn ACL versus, let's say, an 80-year-old sedentary person with a torn ACL. Same morbidity, totally different, cost in terms of what it's going to take to rehabilitate that customer. And so the database was rich enough that insurance companies could actually almost by body part and morbidity figure out, what's it really going to take? How much do we need to authorize in terms of payments to the doctor to rehabilitate this patient? And so that's when the light bulb went off. It's like, you guys are a data analytics company. The software is almost meaningless. It's just a way of ingesting the information that goes into the database. The database is where the value is. And it's not like the board is smart people. They know that, right? They know how valuable that database is. The convincing was convincing them completely flip the business model. If we were going to get this company acquired, we needed to look at the website as just this, huge SEO canvas. This was a few years ago, so it was before AI. To be discovered as an AI analytics source, um, and all of the sales, which at that point had been happening transactionally on the website, we kind of needed to move somewhere else. So that meant moving them to a digital pipeline, which actually was more effective anyway. Um, but it was what we had to convince the board of first that we were correct in the strategic assessment, which most of them pretty readily said, "Yeah, I think you're right." Um, but then it was like pulling the levers. How do we do this?